also?
Yeah, we on Coinbase. Okay, we could put Coinbase. We got Google, Tesla,
Yeah.
Coinbase. We could throw Coinbase up there for the people. Uh, Anybody else? Let me see. Well, let me share the live real quick. How y'all doing this week? How was y'all weekend?
Our weekend was straight.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it was. We had some rain yesterday.
What happened?
Rainstorm.
What happened? It ain't been raining out there like that?
Mm-mm.
Y'all had a dry spell?
Yeah, we almost went by maybe almost 200 days, no rain.
What? And
It was
Vegas?
up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all in the desert, in the middle of the desert. In the train.
Yeah. In a valley.
So you put me on top. I see you too. So you know about it.
Mike, did you want me to go on TikTok or you want me to stay here?
No, it don't matter. So you good. You good here. You're good right here.
I got you.
Put this out on Facebook right now.
I'm gonna go get my computer.
All right. Get that. Get ready. Get these levels ready. We're going to make some money again this week. It's going to be good money this week again. We killed it last week and the week before. Let me pull the Discord channel up, actually. Let me show the people how we've been hitting over the last one. Let me go back. What day is this? Shit, I'll go back to. Let's go back to.
I've been hitting off the charts too, even though I don't do contract like you guys.
Listen, the price levels work, man. Either way, it's gonna work.
Price level, yeah. I go by the price level.
That's it. As long as you got the price levels, you're gonna make that money.
Oh yeah.
Look, we was hitting from what? This is May 2nd. This is the beginning of May. We had Microsoft hit. I got here with Riot. Amazon 65%. Hit a 50% on Apple. 26% Tesla. 146% Q move right here. Come on. IWM.
Hey, you think Nvidia gonna shoot up this week?
I think we're gonna have a little pullback to start the week because of that credit rating that came out on Friday. Moody, they lowered the U.S. credit rating from a AAA to AA1, so that's gonna cause a little pullback. I think maybe Monday. I don't know if it's even gonna last into Tuesday, but I don't think it's gonna last the whole week.
I see a lot of stock drop down because of that news.
Yeah, yep. So that news came out, caused a lot of stocks to pull back. Let me see. Oh yeah, this was when we smacked the Qs right here for 350%. That was beautiful. What was this? Microsoft a good 84 and 63%. Come on, man. The trades hit. The trades hit. The levels hit. Try to tell the people, man. What did Nardo hit on with us? Nardo hit on, what was this? Oh yeah, he hit on the Qs, 225%. My guy Nardo. My guy Boss hit the good Coinbase trade. He hit 700%. We had a nice 700% move right there. What was this? Rome hit the Coinbase. He bought it at 236, sold it at 246. That was a nice play right there.
I've been hitting them boys since Tuesday.
Yeah, I see, man. The track record is here. The people can't deny it when the profits is posted, man.
Yeah. I made this week. I made 10.5 off that shit.
Come on now. Let's go. It's a beautiful day. Let me see. We hit up Q's for another 50%. We hit up SMCI for 360%. I remember that move. That was beautiful. Nice 360% on SMCI. Played some very cheap contracts on them. I bought them at 10 contracts at $11, and they went up to $49. These contracts actually ended up being worth $1 each. So it actually went to $100 a contract from $11. I sold early. And I was still at 360%. If I didn't sell early, that would have been over 1,000% move right there. But there's so many profits to go through. Look at the Coinbase, 525% play. That was on what? This was what day was this? What day is this that we was all posting these games? This was a crazy day. That was the 13th. The 13th. Yep, right after Mother's Day. It was a beautiful day. Hey, yay. Oh, Sun hit the profit here. Sun hit him for 900%. She hit him for 900%, 1,300 on the NVIDIA. That was a nice play on the 14. Oh, wait. Then she got all out. What was that? What you hit? Over 1,000? 1,500? I like that. Rome hit Coinbase again, 255 to 260. My guy Boss hit up. Who was this? Google. He had a good 170% profit right there on the Google play. I hit up Microsoft for a nice 82%, $700 move right there. I hit up NVIDIA for 60%, like 400. What was that? Sun hit up the Qs. She got 76% on the Qs. Rome, you've been smacking coin. I see why you want to chart coin. You've been smacking coin this past week, huh? I see you hit him a couple of times. He hit him again. Caught him at 248, sold at 253. And then we hit MicroStrategy to close out the week. Something light, nothing too crazy. 71% gain. You know, this is a beautiful week we had. Hold on, let me share my TikTok real quick. Somebody requesting the TikTok live. Let me share.
You know all that shit you asked for, fight.
Hold on. Let me share this. And then we're going to get into these price levels for the people, man. Let's talk charts. Let's talk price levels. What are we looking at? All right. We got Coinbase up right now. So Coinbase took a nice jump this past week, man. Bitcoin caught fire again. Bitcoin caught fire, so of course Coinbase is gonna follow trend. Bitcoin put it in a crazy top wick right now though, but Bitcoin pushed up to 107. This is a fresh week chart. This is from today, really. This is a daily candlestick. Bitcoin pushed all the way up to 107,000 today. I didn't even see that. Wow. Shout out to Bitcoin, man. Pushing over there. Okay, so we had Bitcoin push, which led to a nice Coinbase push last week, but Coinbase hasn't even woken up for pre-market yet. I believe 9 p.m. we should get some pre-market movement. Actually, no, Coinbase is on the 24-hour market. I gotta look on another platform. Probably Robinhood could show me where Coinbase is right now. Let me pull up Robinhood real quick. Let me pull up Robin Hood. Let me log in. I'm going to log into that real quick. But while I log into that, let's go ahead and zoom out on the Coinbase chart. You know, I like to look at the macro charts. We actually had some levels for Coinbase already. We hit all the take profits from last week. If you see, we had a level of entry at 232. Well, we had an initial entry, call entry level at 211. So 211, you should have rolled it up to 219 to take profit. And then it was a chop zone I was worried about. So I didn't have re-entry until we got above 232. And that was the top of the weekly wick of March 3rd, 2025. That's why I was saying wait until we get above 232. That would have been confirmation for us to jump in the call. That's when we're going to get the big push. And sure enough, we got that push right after we broke through 232. You see, this is why price levels are so important. So you could have bought in at 219 and said, oh, I want to ride the wave up. But like I said, there was a good chance of chop in this area. So why not wait for the confirmation? You know, you go ahead and you wait for that confirmation and you enter heavy on that confirmation. You got a lot more money to make going after that versus risking it in this potential chop zone. So you could see if you went back on the chart why I said it's a chop zone. You see how these candlesticks are all bunched up? Hold on, let me see. All bunched up in this area right here. This is ranging from April 2024 all the way up until July 2024. It had a lot of price chop in the area. So I was saying wait until it clears this chop area before we jump in again. And once it did, I hit Coinbase, boom. And that's what we had that nice like 2,000% play on Coinbase. It was beautiful. It was lovely. Let me see something. Yes, it's me. All right, we got logged in here. We good. I just want to pull up Robinhood Legend now. So, after we hit the 232 entry, I had to take profit at 246, and then 263 was going to be my new call entry for Coinbase. Same thing, little chop zone right here. When it comes to crypto related stocks, these chop zones can be very deadly and lead to heavy rejections. So you always got to be careful, and it's always best just to miss out on those small little profit in that run and get it on a stronger confirmation level before it takes that next leg up. And here, anytime you play in these ranges, you playing high risk, okay? So be careful, be very, very careful. We are going to look at 263.66 was my call entry level. Where do I get that level from? I will show you right here. I get that price level from. You can see the support on multiple weeks back here, starting in December of 2024. You got bottom wick right here catching support at 246.37, which lines up with that 246.27 price take profit target we had on another call entry. And it bounced off of that 1, 2, 3 times, and then it hit another level back here. Once it bounced off of there, it broke back above this level that it was showing resistance against, which is this 263 level I got, 263.66. You'll see it touched there on December 16th, 2024, and December 23rd, those 2 weeks. So make sure if you got your chart up, you're looking at the weekly chart. I always looking and doing my price levels off of weekly or daily time frames based on what I'm looking for. But a lot of the times, the weekly levels are going to give you much stronger reactions than a daily or intraday level. So you could go from weekly, you could even go to monthly levels. But monthly levels, if you're playing with more capital and you're able to take further out contracts, because you got to give monthly contracts time to play out. Long time to play out. You want to give them like at least 4 or 5 months to play out. Give them over a quarter to do what it's going to do. So we got entry at 263.66. The next target I see up from there, we have a little resistance level back here on the bottom wick of February 3rd, 2025 at 270.04. Now look how important price levels are, because this is a resistance level that I charted from February of 2025. Had you been looking on a daily chart and you're not really looking that far back, you would not see that level coming in, because we haven't touched there since near the beginning of the year. So you wouldn't have any reference for that. So that's why I say it's good to look at the weekly chart and get that macro time frame. Now, even though this is a level from back in February, when we hit that level last week and we hit 270, it immediately rejected back down to 266. Why? Because this is a price level. The charts always respect macro chart levels, macro price levels. If a macro price level is blown through, you best believe there's going to be a retracement back to that support level at some point soon, because these levels don't get disrespected so easily, okay? You usually have some kind of testing or chop around the area before the break. If you just have a clean breakthrough, then that's usually a sign that we may have a pullback coming, or it must be a catalyst due to some kind of fundamental news that happened that could cause something like that to happen, which is very likely in the Trump presidency. So you always got to pay attention to the news. Like this candlestick right here, this was pretty much based off of the China tariff news coming in more positive, how they were pretty much putting a pause on that, and they were going to keep it down around 10 to 20% until they could figure out what the final trade deal is going to be. So for the next 90 days, we don't have to worry about China. A lot of relief came into the market, and you got this kind of candlestick bounce right here that you see. Okay? So it's nothing that Coinbase personally did within the company of Coinbase that changed the value of Coinbase. Coinbase value has been the same as it was when it dropped here, when it was down here, to all the way back up here. Only thing that changed is the news. We're in a fundamental market cycle right now. It's going to shift back to being more technical as Donald Trump calms down and relaxes with all of his, executive orders and financial tariffs on countries. We'll get back to more of a technical market, but right now you got to pay attention to the news and you got to pay attention to his tweets. That's what's going to cause candlesticks like this to happen on the weekly. But either way, you still want to have price levels. That's why we're doing this. So 270.04 is a take profit. Found that level from February. And we're going to get one more take profit for the people on the live and TikTok. 279.33 is where I will look for your next level of take profit, okay? You may see a slight resistance. You could potentially see slight resistance around 274. I'm going to make that a light purple because I think that's going to be light resistance. So however you color code your chart is how you color code it, but I suggest you color code your chart for entries, take profit, and stop losses, okay? So this is the call entry for Coinbase this week, 263.66. It's a little bit above there right now based on the chart, but actually if we look at pre-market, you'll see it's a little bit below. It dipped below pre-market, so we're going to have an opportunity to catch that. Now the next thing that you got to do, I'm going to do this with you right now. After you get your price target from me, the next thing you got to do is set your alert, okay? So I'm going to delete all my old alerts from last week, and we're going to come back here, and we're going to put an alert in on Coinbase to give me an alert when it gets back above this level, okay? Because you don't got your eyes on every chart at all times. So you need alerts. You need the alert to let you know, hey, it's time to buy this call. Hey, it's time to buy this put. Hey, it's time for you to be taking profit. Hey, it's time to stop a loss. You want alerts for all of those things. Even though you got the price levels in your mind and you may know them, like I said, you could run to the bathroom real quick and come back, and the chart could be in a completely different place. You know, you need your alerts on, or you could go out to the store real quick, come back from the store, chart drop $5, you know, but if you had your alert on, you would have got out early, you would have saw the alert come through on your phone, you've been able to sell, okay? So set your alerts. That's the call alert for Coinbase this week. And you always got to play both ways. You never want to look at one side sentiment, so we're going to look at the put. The put entry is going to be, based on what I'm seeing here, let's say we're actually close to a put entry level on pre-market, but I'm going to do it at the next wick down to be safe. we're going to say put entry is 255.80, and that's off the top wick of the July 29th, 2024 candlestick. All right. So anytime I give you a price level, I'm trying to give you the reference of where I find that price level at, so you could go back and look on your chart, understand where I'm getting it from, understand why it's there in the first place, and then understand what take profit levels we're looking for from there. So the first take profit level is honestly already charted for us. It was at 246 take profit level on the way up. It now becomes a take profit level on the way down with puts. So if we get a rejection, which it can possibly happen with the credit rating of the U.S. being lowered this past Friday, right after the markets closed, which was a dirty game. That was dirty how they played that. But 255.60, I will look for my put alert. So I'm going to put an alert there. And that's why I will be grabbing puts. And that 246 that was take profit on the way up, it's the same level on the way down. A lot of times when you set these weekly and monthly macro chart levels, once you get all the levels set on a particular company, especially if you trade a company often, you're not going to have to really delete the levels. You're more so going to have to recolor them to be aligned with the trade that you're looking for, whether it be put or a call. So it was a put take profit before. Now it was a call take profit level before, but now it's a put take profit level on the way down. So if we get down to 255, I'm going to buy a put, which means I think the stock is going to keep going down. I think it's going to keep going down to 246. And then I'll take my profit right there. So you can make money in the stock market both ways. When stocks are going up and stocks are going down. There's not no one way to make money in the stock market. There's multiple ways. You could play it all different directions, which is why the people who have the knowledge make the money irregardless of the conditions of the economy. So that's Coinbase. We got the Coinbase call entry and put entry I gave you out. I gave you the take profit on those. And we're going to move on to Tesla now because I had someone ask about Tesla. Get this off the screen. Tesla. Let's look at Tesla. Who wanted Tesla? Son, is that you that wanted Tesla? That wanted to chart Tesla? Can't remember. Anybody at? All right, they quiet. They being quiet. Mel, you have any companies you want to chart, Mel? I know you in here. Let me know.
I'm here. I'm off this week. And then next week I'll go for
Okay. All right, let's look at Tesla then. Tesla had another gap up situation right here that I want to keep an eye out for. Maybe retesting this area. But like I said, that China tariff news is powerful news, so we could sustain this push up off of that as long as it doesn't reverse. But in this presidency, you never know what the hell's going to happen. So we just play it week by week, level by level, all right? And the next level I have for Tesla would be, we're probably going to have to be a little patient for call entry here. You could do a call entry on Tesla at 358.68. Yeah, you could do that. And that's the price level going back to November 11th, 2024, right after the election. That's kind of where they peaked out around before they took that next leg up. They kind of chopped there for 2-3 weeks. So 358.68, that'll bring them back to that post-election pop level, which was an important time for Tesla and Elon Musk. And then you got the take profit, which is a short distance away at 362. And I'll give you one more. You're not going to like it, but oh well, the levels are the levels. We'll say 367. High chances of rejecting around there, but if it doesn't, we could see a push up to this 370, 368 level, okay? So the 378.63 level I got from the bottom wick of the December 30th candlestick, December 30th, 2024. That's where you got the Tesla resistance level of 374.37. Now, if you look on the chart and you go back to that time and you say, what was happening at that price level? So that happened at that price level. We blew right through it, right? We initially blew through it, and we topped out on Tesla at 485. Everybody was super high on Tesla, and then it came crashing back down. But it was holding support right at that 374 level for about remember, each candlestick represents a full week of trading. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It held above there for 5 weeks. So over a month, it held above that 374 level, which is why coming back to the upside, that's going to be a heavy resistance level for it to break through. But if it starts closing above there, then we have a good chance of pushing, and then we look for re-entry for next week, and then we keep moving from there. You know, I could chart a re-entry level for you right now, but I'm gonna keep that exclusive for the Discord, community. We'll get the re-entry level if we break 374 on Tesla, and then we could jump back in from there if needed. But 358 is where I'm gonna set my call alert for Tesla for this week, right around that 358.60 level. I usually set a little bit before. As long as it's right around that range, I'm good. I just need to know that the price is around that level. Because a lot of the times what happens is when you get a price around a good price level, it's going to chop there for a little bit anyway. And that gives you the time to make your entry and decide how large you want to make your position. Or looking to see if it's going to reject off the price level or not. Now, for put entry on Tesla. Make sure you like the live, share the live. It don't get no simpler than this. Giving out price levels for the free. Giving out take profit levels for the free. And this is all because there's more than enough money and knowledge to go around. You still have to execute the trade yourself. You still have to put in these alerts yourself. You know, I could walk you through it a little more if you're in the community, but ultimately you have to make these moves. You have to invest in yourself in order to have success in the stock market. Whether that be investing in classes to teach, to learn, whether that be subscribing to communities, to be part of a trading community. Doesn't even have to be mine. Anybody's trading community gets you started and gets you exposure. There's a lot of bad ones out there, but there's a lot of good ones out there as well, okay? I got my boy Empowerment Assets. He has a really good trading community. You can look for his classes and subscribe with him. But you got to be invested in yourself. You got to pour money into yourself. Everything is not going to come free to you. That's going to bring you true value. So I'm giving you these free price levels, and these will help you. But the true value comes from being part of the community and learning and growing together. That's where you're going to get the true value at. But for right now, I'll give you these price levels for the free ski, and you could take advantage. But you'll see that this has a cap on it. There's only but so much advantage you're going to be able to take care of, and we're going to be expounding and expanding so much as a community that it's going to be hard to pace with us if you're not part of the community. Okay? So, put entry level. Believe it or not, we actually have a level in already that I like for the put entry. 342.29 on Tesla as a put entry. And honestly, like I said on the way up, if you were charting the stock on the way up already, especially on the same time frame, a lot of the times, if there was no new levels put in between, you could get the same levels on the way back down. So 342.29 put entry. That entry level is coming off of the top wick of the February 24th weekly candlestick on Tesla, okay? And we're going to get the take profit level on that. It comes from the week before that. The week before that, the February 18th week, gave us a take profit level on puts at 335.50. So we're going to set that level right here. And then we're going to look back. Let me see where I got this level from. It could be coming. Yep. So I know I don't put levels in for no reason. You got a level here at 329.74. A lot of times what people don't want to do, they don't want to go back deep into the dates of the chart. But if a company's already surpassed the price and they came back down below it, a lot of the times it's going to benefit you to go as far back as you can to see how many times in the past did it break below or above this particular level we're looking at. So right here, on the way down, I could say, well, this is not the bottom of any candlestick because the February 10th candlestick, the bottom of that is this 325 level. Why would I put a level at 329? And you get caught up in a put trade if you don't put that level in. You could get rejected thinking that you're going to ride the take profit down to 325. Meanwhile, there's a level at 329 that you're going to get caught up at, and it's going to reject and bounce back up. But you didn't see that because you didn't go back far enough. So you didn't scroll back on your time frame far enough and see that, oh, well, there is a level that comes up before this wick. And that's the main thing I tell people when you're charting your price levels, especially when you're using macro time frames. Do not ignore the wicks. Do not ignore those levels. Do not just arbitrarily pick whatever price level or candlestick you want to set the price off of. Do the next wick, the very next wick that is available to set the level at is where you want to set your level. You don't want to skip over a wick. Oh, it's so close. And nope, that wick is there for a reason. And you go ahead and start disrespecting weekly and monthly wicks and watch what happens. Watch what happens to your portfolio. You're going to get smacked. So always respect the wick. Even if it's a close wick, you want to make sure that there's a price level that is broken through before you are confident in the next price level. All right? You don't want to be skipping over 329 for 325 and 329 hits and we get a crazy bounce and you're not understanding why the market is bouncing there and you're just looking for 325 and 325 was never going to come because it was never broke below 329. All right? But put the alert in. Let's set that alert now for Tesla. We got the put level. We got the call level. And I gave you some take profits on the puts and the call. It looks like a lot when you're looking at it on a weekly, but when you zoom in and you're on a 30-minute chart, there's much less lines on the screen. So that's another reason why I like doing my levels on the macro chart, because you have less congestion on your screen when you shrink it down into an intraday chart. It looks like a lot on the weekly chart, but when you shrink it down to intraday chart, weekly levels are pretty far apart when you're looking on intraday. So you're not going to get all those lines on your screen at once a lot of the time. So right now it's pretty clean. It's clean and easy to see. Clean and easy to see. Put entry has been triggered pre-market, right? So now we know when we open up tomorrow, if Tesla is opening up around this 342.29, I want to make sure I take a put. Now there's certain ways you want to trade it at open. And that's another thing I teach inside the in Discord community, how you want to trade open. There's certain candlesticks you want to watch at open and see to determine what the momentum is going to push for at least the first half of the day. And that's what I'm going to look for. I'm going to look for how those candlesticks play in the morning at around my price level. If it closes below, I'm grabbing that put and I'm going to look to ride it down to 335. All right, and then I'm going to see how the market reacts at 335. And then I'm going to see if we could go ahead to that 329 level. All right, and each level you're retesting and you have certain strategies that you do where you can either take profit, shed contracts, set a stop loss at those points. Those are different strategies you could take so you could make sure you're always locking in profit. That's the main thing I always want to preach to people too, that once you're in profit and you hit a target, if you hit a target and you exit the trade with the loss, that is nobody's fault but your own. The market gave you exactly what you were looking for. You got greedy. You didn't set a stop loss once the price target was hit and it retraced back up and you was like, oh man, I'm gonna wait, it's gonna come back down, it's gonna come back down, and it never came back down. And it never came back down. It just kept going up, and now you're in the loss. Now you're taking a loss on your money because you got greedy. It hit your target. How you lose money? How can you possibly lose money if it hits a target? Greed. So that is when the market helps you get into self-reflective mode. And are you mentally in the right space to be trading? What mental disciplines do you have to work on? And all that stuff applies in the trading. It's not just clicking the button. Trading is very psychological, and the market will play psychological games with you. These levels and these alerts are to help you not get caught up in those psychological games and emotional games that the market will pull you into. So when your target hits, you could either start off early on, especially when you're a new investor or trader. Anytime a target hits, take profit. Take profit. That's a practice you get into. No matter what, 20%, 15%, especially if it's 30% profit. Sometimes I'm going to take a profit at 30%, even if it's before the target. You know why? Because I got my 30% profit. So 30% is my personal goal where I like to take profit on contracts. So if it comes down from 342 and it gets to 338 and I'm at 30% profit, I'll probably sell some contracts there and take profit off the table. And then we'll take the rest at 335. But I'm definitely going to get out right here. Don't be greedy. When pigs get slaughtered, right? That's what they said. Pigs get slaughtered. Don't be a pig in the market. So we got Tesla, we got Coinbase, and I had one more request for Google. So we're going to do Google price levels this week. I like Google. Google's on a nice bounce back. If you're looking at Google, even with no price levels on them, and you're just looking at the chart, Look at the story. The chart tells you a story of a company, right? Tesla hitting 0.5. Like you said, the hard upward moving futures are negative today. Yep, futures are negative today, Rich. And Miss Jem, Discord is helpful. Yes, I'm glad the Discord is helpful for you, Miss Jem. I'm glad it's helping you. Appreciate you being in there. Tesla is going to be on that reject. Like I said, that credit rating being lowered on America. The American economy is going to have some weight on the stock market to start off the week. I don't think it's going to be sustained. I think we will bounce back off of this. And this is where you could go to past performance to try to predict future outcomes. You could look, and the U.S. has had its credit rating cut before, and then the market bounces back, and it gets its credit rating back. A lot of this has happened before, so this is not a first time in history event. You just got to look back and see how the market reacts before, and kind of align that with the climate of what the market is doing now. We're in positive trajectory. Deals are being made. Tariffs are being postponed. There's still 90-day pauses in place. So at least up until the end of that 90-day pause with China, I would say we're in a bullish state. So this is going to be a temporary pullback. We may be able to get some good put plays early in the week and get some better call entries to play out the rest of the end of the week on the bounce back up. But let's do Google real quick. Google looks like it's in another consolidation zone. Consolidating means that it's chopping up and down between a price range. So we'll say the consolidation zone for Google has been this zone right here. We'll say this is where Google's consolidation has been. So it's been around between 172 down to, I want to say, 143. So it's been about a $30 range that has been chopping in, going back to, what date is this? September. It broke above it really quick, and then it came right back down into that zone. So we're right back into this consolidation zone. If you own Google back in September of last year, it's right back at the same exact price. You ain't making no money, you ain't losing no money on Google. All right? But what you could do is catch Google down on these little dips when we had that pullback, especially if you're looking to be a long-term 3 to 5 year portfolio holder of the stock. These are the dips you want to take advantage of. These aren't necessarily always bad resets. These sometimes are good resets, because this flash right here gave you an idea of what the company can do and what it's trying to do. So you got a glimpse into the future. Oh shit, Google's pushing up to 205. Damn, AI programs are working well. They're making money in the cloud, blah, blah, blah. You watching, keeping up with the news. All right, some bad news came out and it had a pullback. But we know Google's a legacy company. We know Google is expanding into different technologies. We know government's trying to break up Google because it's such a monopoly and a behemoth in the tech industry. We know how much information. So we know these pullbacks don't last. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. This is not going to last forever. So you want to take advantage of this. All right, so right now that's what we're going to do. I had a lot of price levels charted out down here because we took advantage of Google in the community this past few weeks when it had that dip down below 160 into the 150s. I knew it wasn't going to stay down there. I'm actually looking forward to test the 190s again soon. I got some long out calls on Google that expire the end of the summer. So I'm looking for Google to make a nice push by the end of the summer back above 190. But let's chart this next leg up for the people. Yeah, you see I already had the levels in because I'm watching Google. I'm watching Google like a hawk over here. So we're going to say I already got my call entry level printed for Google. And it's respecting that level gloriously. So we got 168.33. 168.33 is going to be the call entry for Google. Set your alerts right now on your charts, whatever you're using. TradingView, Robinhood, Webull, whatever. Set your price alerts right now. All right. Now we got that level comes from a few different places. Let me see. I think we got a couple touches on there. So we got a touch on that price level on March 17th, 2025. Google touched there. You'll see that top wick touched the price level. Before that, it had used that price level as a support. It was support in February 2025. It pulled down there all the way from where were we at back then in February. February is when it took that great fall. It was bad. The whole market was doing bad around that time. It was terrible. It came down from 183 and it came straight down. The only place it stopped and bounced was that 168. It blew through every other level, no problem. Just came straight through it. All right, but as soon as it touched 168.32, you see that little wick? That wick lets you know, bounce. This is what you want to look for in stocks when you're looking for a recovery. You want to look for long wicks from the bottom side, or if you're looking for a rejection and seeing if we're exhausted going up, you want to look for high wicks on the top side, okay? But anyway, so I saw this support going back in February, and you also see it touching in March, and then we had the end of March, it rejected off of there before we tanked all the way back down to 143. Now we're coming back up out the grave like the Undertaker, and 168.33 is going to be where we got to look to break above. As you see, we tried to push above it last week and it rejected it, came back down, stock came back down, and we're sitting at 167. Now let's look at pre-market real quick. 164 pre-market, so we're even lower in pre-market, okay? This is why we got to chart the put side too. I got a put level in here at 163 already. I want to see if that's the one I want to play. Based on where we at pre-market, I'm thinking that is going to keep it right there. We're going to keep that same put level. This 163.31, I like that. Let me go zoom out so I can tell y'all where we got this level from. But 163.31 on Google is where we're going to play it to the downside to 161.98 and then 160.22. All right, let me go to the weekly. Let me find that put entry on the weekly. I'm pretty sure it was something recent. There it goes right here. March 10th, 2025. March 10th, 2025, we bounced crazy off of 163.31. So if we break back below 163.31, that shows you that this is a very strong level of support. It served as that for 2 weeks before it crashed through it. So we had bounce, and then crash through, right? So then we stayed down there for a little while below that level before we creep back up above it. So if we get back below that 163 level, yeah, I'm grabbing a put. Even though it may be a short-lived pullback to 161, like I said, based off the credit rating news, we may not even get the 160.22, but I'm going to jump in on the put and play it down to the level because this is why we have the levels and this is why we set the alerts, okay? So we could take advantage of these moves and make money on the market going up or down. So we hit up Google today. We did Tesla. We did Coinbase. I think you guys should be pretty prepared with some of these companies going into the week. I'm going to go ahead and get off the ticky top. And we're going to go private on the Discord, and I'm going to chart out some ETFs. If you were in the stock class earlier, we were talking about ETFs. And for people who don't do option trading, these price levels, like my guy Rome, who's not an option trader, but he trades stocks. Even if you just buy and sell stocks, these price levels work for you the same way. Only difference is for you, you really can't trade to the downside with stocks unless you're doing options. Or you're buying the short version of that stock, which they do have tickers out there like that. But you got to make sure you're buying the right ticker, which is another thing we talked about in the 7 o'clock class. All right. So if you're in the 8 o'clock charting session right now, I do a 7 o'clock stock class for beginners. If there's anything in here that may confuse you and you're unsure about, you definitely want to be in the stock class for beginners so you can learn about stocks from the beginning and then advance into learning more lingos about price levels, about resistance and support, what wicks are, candlesticks, time frames, and all that stuff you hear me talk about on here that may sound like Chinese to you if you don't trade on a daily basis, or invest. All right. Thank you everybody who came through, show support, the love, the likes, 1,000 likes. That's a record I think for the day. Appreciate the love. Thank you everybody. Berg, my man, what's going on? I didn't even see you slide in here. But yeah, I think you guys are well prepared for the week. We're going to go ahead and jump into the private session and do those ETF price levels and lock in so we can make some more money this week. I don't know anybody was in here earlier, but I always like showing off the crew. I like showing off my people. When we clearing profits, we got 1,000% profits being cleared in the Discord. This is the Discord share profit channel. I got people clearing 1,000% profits. That's my girl's son right there. She got 1,000% on NVIDIA this past week. That was a beautiful trade off the price level. You know, we always celebrating in here. Portfolio up 100% in the past month. That's the Robinhood trading portfolio I have. So we're not just talking it in here. We're doing it. You know, the Coinbase trade I was talking about, how we was watching Coinbase last week. We made 500% on Coinbase. That was a nice $2,700 play off of $500. So you don't need a bunch of money to make money. All right, you could take $500. I'm not saying this is a trade that you're going to get every day. I remember I said 30% is a threshold I look for. So these trades come off of certain price levels being triggered and fundamental events happening behind them. But the price level gets you in early. It lets you know, hey, something's cooking here. Something may be going on here. You may want to get in. And that's where we get those signals. And that's how you catch these kind of plays, you know. Even 58 to 50% plays are not normal all the time. But we're hitting them in here because we have good price levels. So you'll see a lot of 40%, 50%, 700% plays, SMCI. You'll see a lot of that on here, you know. So that's because we have good levels. And I'm trying to teach you how to go fishing on your own, so you don't need me to always go fishing for you with price levels. I don't want to create a necessity for you to need me to give you price levels. I want you to be able to find them on your own. I want you to be bringing me some price levels. I want you to come to me with some price levels like, yo, I got this company charted. I did the price levels. I got the take profit, stop loss. Come to me with all the homework already done, because you know I'm going to ask the questions. And if you come to me with the homework done, it's up to me to research the company, see if I like the trade, and then I'll take it. I get a lot of good call outs from people in the community that have been with me for a long time, that know how to chart, that know how to find price levels. And I'm even getting them into being more consistent with calling out price levels so we could get more gains as a community. Because like I said, I can't see everything. I'm not trying to see everything. I want more of you to come in and get price levels so we could have more 100% gains like this one right here. You know? Everybody could eat. The stock market has much money and more than enough to go around for everybody. So let's all get on board, lock in with these charting sessions that I'm doing, learn how to do this, learn how to identify the wicks on the weekly time frames. I'm going to get more detailed into the stock class at 7 o'clock. Those are going to become more advanced classes as time goes on. We're going to talk about strat combos and all kind of stuff, okay? But we're going to rock it slow and steady, and we're going to build this community up together. And I want everybody to be able to learn and have the knowledge needed to do this on your own. All right? I don't want dependence on me. I want you to be able to do this. All right. I'll see you all next week. And we'll be live during the week trading on the Discord. So subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I will see you live on TikTok throughout the week. I'm going to jump in and do some live trading sessions Tuesday through Thursday. And I'll be back teaching on Sunday. Appreciate everybody who came through and showed love. Peace.